Hi guys, and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, thank you. I appreciate you guys. We are on Gemini. That's what's rising right now. So we're going to start out with a Lantern Oracle, and then I got a couple new decks out here. We're going to look at a past card, a mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, and the future advice here. Let's go ahead and see Gemini. I also got the crystal deck out for your affirmation, so we'll get that too. And probably a spiral oracle too. Depends on what comes out. You guys, I hope everybody's doing well, and I hope everybody's taking care of themselves. I just want to say hello to all the new subscribers, and thank you. I appreciate you being here, coming, but also just welcome you guys to my channel. So if you're new, welcome, and it is so nice to see some new subscribers, more people just doing the work. If you've been with my channel for a while, you know this is right now I still got my shadow work deck out, so we're going to be working a little with that, and we're just looking at all the different aspects here. We're looking at a lot of stuff, and look at what you guys got. This card just has so much to say. It's wishful expectations, and it's a wheel, and this woman is just being wrung around the wheel. You know, it's just in and out of the water, up and down emotional. You know, I'm feeling a lot from this card, and anything that's not working out in your environment right now, Gemini, anything that is pulling you in a direction that you don't want to go, anything that is leaving you feeling not grounded and not centered, needs to be acknowledged and called out for what it is. Okay, so if there's something here that's just a cycle, or something that just keeps, you know, an up and down, like a roller coaster. This could be internally, like thoughts, emotions, anything that just keeps coming in and going up and down and up and down, or in and out, in and out. That's what I'm getting, and it's just saying to acknowledge that. Acknowledge whatever that is in your life, whether it's a person, a situation, could be a thought process, could be an action or something you're doing. If there is anything that's just, it's about seeing something very clearly here, a cycle or something like that, seeing something very clearly here and acknowledging it for what it is, and not making it what you want it to be, but just acknowledging it for what it is. And it doesn't mean it has to be necessarily bad either. It's just really looking at what is there and calling it out for what it is, and acknowledging it for what it is, and what you've learned through it, or why you're doing something, or why you're thinking a certain way. But it does feel like an up and down. I am getting that kind of like in and out, up and down, emotional. You know, looks like she's exhausted, like walking in this wheel, you know, just keeps going in circles, you know. So there's something here that feels like cyclic. So we will get more on that, Gemini, but let's go ahead and see what we got going on here. Let's look. Oh, first card. So did I shuffle these? Yes, I did. Will. Okay. So something here you've been going through, has built you up, has built along a strong will. Where there's a will, there's a way. And that's interesting too, because there's a will, W-H-E-E-L, in this card. Will, and this is about will. Allowing your mind to will something into existence, create something, right? So there is this feeling here of making decisions in the past here with a strong mind to continue doing something, or continue pursuing something, or maybe switching direction altogether. But if something's not working out, or something feels like you're going back around again in the same thing, this is letting me know that you have already faced a lot of fears. You have already focused your energy and your power in a direction that you're headed. Just being mindful that maybe something from the past could be continuing to resurface, or you could be revisiting something here. But if you already went through it once, or you've already made your mind up to get through it, and something's revisiting itself, whether this is a habit, a person, a situation, a thought process, something like that, it's saying, remember, you've already you've already went through this. Where there's a will, there's a way, and you need to see it for what it is. If this is something you do as like a cyclic thing or a process, and I am reading these for the person I'm reading them for. So, you know, my readings aren't based on everybody else, but environment does have a lot to do with what boundaries we have in our environments. Our boundaries are created by our environments, and what is allowed in the environment. There could be something here you have worked very hard to overcome, and you've faced a lot of fears, and you went through a lot here, and it feels like maybe you thought with the wishful expectations card here that it would be different, that something would be looking different or feeling different at this point, and it's just not. It's just saying see it for what it is. And I will say this from my own experiences and my own journey, things don't happen overnight. It is a very long process, especially when we're clearing up karmic energy or old habits, cycles, habits, just shadow stuff. You know, it does come back and revisit some things. Will come back and show you, sometimes to guide you back on path, sometimes to take you off the one you're on, because it's just still not right. Now, I will say patience is a virtue, and I truly do believe that. So if you're going through something right here where you thought something would look different because you put a lot of work in and you face a lot of fears and you put a lot of energy into doing something, heading in a direction, but you're feeling exhausted, which is what I'm getting from this, is exhaustion, and could just be feeling like, man, I'm just going in circles. I've been getting this message, and I feel like this round of readings is going to have something to do with, I keep getting that like kind of Fibonacci energy, this cycle energy, and it could be because we are getting ready we are in a beginning of a big new cycle with the outer planets and everything. So there is a lot going on planetarily, cycles too. Everything is a cycle, but something changes. I try to explain this to people now. Oh, history repeats itself. History repeats itself. Yes, history does repeat itself, but in the moment, we don't see that the little small changes that are made in that sequence of events changes the bigger, it's a ripple effect type thing. It's a bigger picture that you can't see when the little change is being made. But in the long-term picture, it turns into a different, it's like adding one little bump. You know, at first it just like one little bump in the line, in the spiral, but then it becomes lots of bumps, you know, and then it becomes a totally different design. Okay, so it's like, I've been getting this energy about a different design, but the same, you start with the same, you're using, how do I put this? Okay, so you're using the same tools, you're using the same, you know, pen, you're using the same paper, you're drawing the same line, but you decide to do something different with it. You decide to add a little every 3 seconds, whatever. This slowly builds up to a totally different pattern, a totally different picture. You may be going through the same motions, but it's not, because something's changing. And this is a big message for everybody, but I am getting that message in this, and I have been getting it on my own, not doing the readings. I've just been sitting there during my meditations and my process, and getting that message of this Fibonacci being, and look into it more if you're curious about it, but it's definitely something changes small in the moment, and we don't see it in the moment. We think nothing's changing, you know, and you have expectations that it's going to draw a completely different picture, or the outcome's going to be completely different like yesterday. But it takes a lot of time for patterns and cycles to change, for evolution to happen, for a different picture to emerge. So a lot of times I feel like people make the mistake, and it's not necessarily, but it's just a, you know, to go back to drawing the simple line, right? Because it was a lot easier to draw, and actually drawing a straight line isn't that simple either. But over time, something changes. But if you can't see it in the moment, you might just go back to the same old way, or the same old way of thinking, or the same old way of approaching something, because you're not seeing the results that you thought you would see by making the changes that you've made. But they're there. They're there in the longer, bigger picture, and it feels very Saturnian, like Saturn energy, and like long-term, like work and boundaries, and putting in that extra effort and that extra focus on something, and then saying, oh, this still ain't, but you're in it. You're in this cycle. So sometimes it's hard without stepping back and looking at the big picture and see the changes that have happened, because they feel very minute to our human selves. They feel minute, but in the spiritual realm, these are huge, massive energies being changed and shifted and released, and it takes time for that all to be seen, especially in the environment, or especially in the material world. So, there is a feeling here of, in creation. We got creation for your mental. So it's creating something, with our thought process. So as I was saying, like if there's something you've been working on, you've already worked very hard on like some big changes, big shifts, you've seen a path forward, you continue even exhausted to go through the cycles, because life is a cycle. We cannot escape the cyclic nature of nature. It's nature. We have winter, we have spring, we have fall, we have, it's all continues again, but something little might grow or change in a season. And that includes a season of our life, you guys. So this is really about something has shifted and changed. You've made some tremendous changes and shifts. This is interesting because this is the same card I also got when I did a reading for myself. It's so almost but I do have right now, Jupiter is going through Gemini, and Gemini is in my 10th house. My 10th house is being activated. That's how that's my midheaven. So it's the peak of my chart, in how I'm known and how I'm received and what I'm creating in the world, for work and what I'm doing as a service. And it is about creating change little by little. We just had a big conversation about this, about, I think I've said this, if you've been on my channel, me and my son, like we're like the same, but very different, but the same. We both are very passionate about and we're on kind of different, you would think we're on different. Sometimes I think it's just our wording, but I'm like explaining that he's like, we need more education and better education. People need to read more. And I'm like, yes, I love books. I love reading. And, but what happens when there's no books? We have our voice. We have the changes that we can make one-on-one with each other, face-to-face, in times like right now. Like you have a chance to change or impact your environment little by little. You may not be able to go save the whole educational system. And this is just an example, you guys are, and I'm not saying either way it's what it is, and you are who you are. And I went into structuralism and extensionalism. And these are two very psychological theories, just there is our environment, but then there's this idea that we are our own individual and we can make an individual purposeful impact in our environment, and that helps create our life and our environments, so it's kind of like that free will versus no will kind of energy. But this is about creating, and I am a firm believer that by our own evolution, our own conscious awareness, and our becoming more aware of our unconscious behaviors and those little ripples we make, maybe not even knowing, we can shift and change the pattern, the big picture. We may not see it in our lifetime even, or our year or our season, but in the big picture it helps. The big picture, the all for all is one kind of energy. So this is saying, mentally right now, you are creating something here. So you can continue to move forward and keep going in the direction you're going. And you may have had some expectations that are not feeling seen or manifested, or something that's you've been trying to create in your life, maybe with family, maybe with friends, maybe with your tribe, maybe with your environment, because this is a message coming in. Now you're going to have to search within and see if this is just not meant to be, not meant to, and after working on something or acknowledging so much for so long, you can only do that so long before you're like, okay, this just, maybe I'm off path, and sometimes you got to ask yourself those hard questions. But there is something you're trying to bring into existence, and it starts with your mind here and your way, your will, how you're going to do it, how long you're going to focus on it, how is it going to come to be, so this is really staying strong in your mind and avoiding any changes in the mind that might mess with your creation. Okay, so if you're getting frustrated or feel like you're pushed up against a wall while you're working on something here, I feel like this so far is saying to continue making those little, you might not be seeing the bigger picture right now. Avoid any fighting or disagreements with yourself, especially about what you're doing, because if things feel cyclic, we are in cycles, like this is life. I think a lot of the times we want things to be extreme and different, and really in the big picture they aren't that different, but there's a little bits that are different that make our existence and our living a lot more pleasant or a lot more unpleasant, depending on the choices and the creative process, right? How you go about the emotional hiccups and the physical boundaries and the limitations that we come across, we can still keep our mind on the creation itself, on the bigger picture. I feel like that's what's so far being said here. I do, let's see about the emotion here. We got the fourth one. Wow. Okay. Okay, this is interesting because this is emotional accumulation. That's the word. Accumulating something over time. Okay, so something's been accumulated and built up. This has been an energy about this buildup that's been happening, especially if you are been working on a lot the last 20 years. So, you know, if you're in your 30s, your 40s, there's been an accumulation, an emotional accumulation, and there's been release. There's been healing. This is the process of gathering together and increasing in amount over a period of time. So you can see all these spots have gathered, you know, and are accumulated, and it's starting to create a bigger group, a bigger dynamic, a bigger picture, where before it might have been one spot. This is going with the reading really well, the little like kind of ripple effect, that energy I'm getting in the cyclic, like the little tiny changes that make all of a sudden you got a sun instead of a circle. You know, there's little things we do in our day-to-day and little changes that actually take a lot of will and because those are the hardest things to change, are the things that we do just daily, you know, those little things that build up daily that we just do by habit. Those are the hardest things to change, but they make the biggest differences in our lives. There is something here that feels, there's some kind of bigger picture that's meant to be, it's faded. You know, there is that faded energy here, but it's like, it may not be looking exactly how you are wanting to create it, but there is something here that has built up. And I feel like, you know, one of the cautions to this card is to watch your conduct. Be mindful of what you're doing with your pen. Be mindful of what, if you're holding the study line or if you're adding extra, you know, there's something here like a cycle or a pattern, but it's been created, and it is being created, and you may not see the creative force and the creative power you have in this situation or this cycle of your life, but it's important. This wheel is reminding me of Wheel of Fortune, Jupiter, things expanding, things growing, things coming together. So be very mindful right now not to make, even if things are feeling like, oh, this isn't what I wanted it to look like, I feel like you've already put forth so much focus and so much power and so much energy in moving in this direction, that you should be confident that you are headed in the right direction, and that there is an accumulation of energy building here, and it's building something bigger. And I feel like that's what Spirit is trying to say with these cards so far. So it's very interesting how that is. Let's see what's going on spiritually here. What is the spiritual energy? We got that creative mindset, keeping your mind on the creation, the accumulation of a lot of emotional lessons through your relationships over a long period of time, and the determination to move forward with something and stand up for yourself and against fears. So let's just, ooh, this is a really pretty, and sticking to your dream, your vision. The card is dreaming. That's what this is. It's about honoring yourself, and it's about centering yourself and staying spiritually grounded in your creation, your vision. Even if you're in your own cycle, every little thing you've done or are doing is creating a bigger picture. It says a sequence of images. It's a sequence of images, an accumulation, you know, a sequence, a gathering, a bringing together of all these little visions and all these, sometimes voluntary things that we create in our minds, but also sometimes involuntary things that we create in our minds, and that just are happening because that's what we envision for ourselves, or that's what we want for our lives, or that's where we see ourselves headed. There is a feeling of having a big dream, a big, it's a feeling of knowing that a dream or a longing or a vision is coming into place, or it's coming together. Something is coming together here. Staying true to yourself, staying true to your standing your ground on something here, not changing something that you've already started to create is the message I'm getting for you guys, whoever this is resonating with. And it's, it says your hopes, something that someone hopes. This is the definition of dreaming. It's, a sequence of images appear involuntary to the mind of a sleeping person. And this could mean dreams also, literally having sleeping dreams, but it's often real and imaginary. Places, things, events, things you envision for your life that may or may not be right there physically yet. We are going to get a physical card, but it takes ambition and it takes dreaming to continue to reach towards a goal and attain something. Even if it's difficult, there could be something here that you're facing that feels difficult. Like you want to give up on it, or like you want to change the plan, or you want to, but it feels like, Spirit's coming through saying, this is an accumulation of years of learning, growing, standing your ground, moving forward, creating something new for yourself, maybe the people around you, looking very closely at how the relationships and people and environments in your life play a part in your well-being, your emotional well-being, especially. But there is it says honor yourself, honor yourself. And there is obstacles right now, obstacles to your dreams, obstacles to your visions, obstacles, but it's this feeling of continuing to move forward, even with exhaustion, and knowing that, and it's interesting, this just popped out at me, you guys. She is chained to this wheel. And this is interesting because it says fate. Fate is at play. There is something here, like whatever your dream or your vision or where you're headed is almost, it's for you. There's something here for you, and you've been putting in the work. You've been standing your ground on something that is for you. And there is obstacles, and it's going to require a lot of discipline, self-discipline, staying the course, even though it may feel like it feels drudgy. It feels like drudgery, it feels like, oh my God, I can't get off this, but every time this wheel comes around, something changes, even if it's just a frame of mind. That is the message I'm getting. I hope that makes sense for somebody, but that is what I'm getting. Let's look at the physical here. Nope. I also got 4 there. I got 1, 1, 4, 2, 4, 12 altogether. Wow. Ooh. This red is really popping out on this. These are just very artistic cards, and it's just neat to see what the word is that goes with that image, but it's domination. There is some kind of, you need to assert yourself right now in your life. You need to accept where you're at in your life and in this cycle or in this wheel that you are a part of, that you are walking through and in, and it is feeling very structured. It's feeling very meant to be and meant the way it is. And be mindful right now that you're not trying to control or dominate over others in your environment, and only pay attention to your steps right now and the steps you're taking. Be very mindful. Watch your conduct. Watch what your hand's doing, not what others are doing right now. That's the message coming through with this card. It's about trusting not only yourself, but trusting that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, and you're doing what you need to do in this situation, and trust that others will trust, not even the others, but trust that the process is happening, and everybody else's process or the situation has nothing to do with what you're doing. It's a good time right now, maybe to start doing something physical. You could be, it does feel like you could be tired. Maybe you need something to energize you, and you're probably like, oh yeah, and I've thought this, like when I'm tired, it's like, you want me to do something like physically because I'm tired? I don't think I could even walk 5 steps without being more tired, but I can promise you that if it's something you want to do and it's something that energizes you, to do it. Whether this is drawing, it's usually something creative, artistic, to get you through kind of this mind loop of wanting to either retreat or give up or change something. It could just be a monotonous pattern you feel like, a monotonous day, like the monotony, like breaking the monotony. Be consistent. Be consistent. Be consistent, and stick with what you're doing right now, Gemini, if this is resonating with you. If you have felt yourself kind of falling back into something that you've already went through, remember, you've already faced fears. You've already had a strong will. You've already came this far. You have a dream. You have a vision. You are on that. You are in that cycle. You're in that loop. It may feel exhausting. You may not be getting these results yesterday that you wanted. But like I said, that message about the little changes makes the bigger picture better, or what it's supposed to be, or what it's meant to be. And we don't necessarily know what everything's meant to look like at the end. And we may not even get to see it with our own physical eyes that we're in right now, but it's meant to be. And I do believe that. But this is also speaking to me about domination. You know, that means domination over yourself, domination over your life, your choices, your decision making, showing that discipline when it comes to, I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to stick to this. So if there's something you are doubting because it's not maybe it's not giving you, you're not getting the expectations you have higher, and expectations are like, they're so hard not to have, but they're so disheartening because our expectations are always higher than they're always more dreamy and more wonderful than what's actually what we're dealing with at the time. But things turn out better than we expect. It's just when we look at that small picture, we're like, this isn't like what I thought it was going to be. So you keep taking the steps and you keep making the moves, and that picture keeps changing. But you don't just give up on it. You don't just crumple it up and say, okay, I'm done with that dream. I'm done with walking this path. If you know you have been guided this way, and even if it's exhausting, you don't give up on something just because it's hard. You stay consistent and flexible at the same time. You can see she is not she is tired, but she's not really like you exhausting her energy on this. She knows she's going through this, whether or not she puts 1,000,000 times the effort into it or not. Something's happening here that you don't really have control over. I will say that is coming to mind, but you do have control over the way you handle it, the way you stand in your dream, your focus, your energy. You stand in your truth and you honor yourself right now. Okay. That is what I am getting. So that is a beautiful message. Gemini, let's see what your affirmation says before we get the future. Knight of Swords. This is that, using your mind wisely right now, using it carefully, picking your battles wisely. Do not have conflict or quarrels with those around you. There's something out of your control right now, but you're on the right path. That's the message coming through for you guys, whoever this is resonating with. I choose my battles carefully. Remember this over this time period. It's important. I do feel like there could be some things, maybe you feel like trying to pull you off what you're working on, and it's exhausting. It's going to be more exhausting to fight the way things are going or turning. But it is all, I feel, a part of the bigger picture that you may not be able to see right now, like that Fibonacci thing. But the little changes you're making, the little part you're doing is making a difference. So just remember that. 5. Ooh, I love this image. It's a moon, you know. It looks like a moon to me, but it's humanity, kindness, and compassion for others, heart chakra. So this is using your mind power, serving and honoring another. So there could be something here going on here where you need to show extra compassion and kindness for others. You want, you may be even trying to, it's interesting because we got discipline, self-discipline, you know, confidence and sensitivity. So you're being asked to be sensitive and disciplined. I think, you know, don't give yourself too much to an energy that's surrounding you or that could be feeling like it's moving you somewhere. Stay focused on what you're doing, but at the same time, honor another's process. I feel like this has something to do with your environment or somebody in your environment, and showing a lot of compassion and knowing that you may be standing your ground on something, but somebody else is in their process or working on something here that could be, you could be letting affect the trajectory you're going. And I'm hearing and I'm feeling, and I get this strong feeling that you need to stay on the path you're on and not let something sway you off of the path you're on, even though this feels exhausting, even if it is helping another or being around somebody here that could be, you could be feeling extra sensitive to this situation and just honor yourself first and foremost, but also remember that you're honoring humanity. You're honoring human nature here and the cyclic part of being human and part of nature. Like I said at the beginning of this reading, it is part of our existence, cycles, and everybody has, sometimes you have to go through cycles over and over and over and over again before you get it, and before you can make that change, before you see where the line needs to be drawn differently, if that makes sense. That's the message I am getting. So that is a really nice message. So, you know, something here is built up. It's just, something's building here. There's a building up to something here that is meant to be. It's very important right now to stay on path, but yet flexible and compassionate with others that are around you. Let's see what you guys get from the Spiral Oracle. Open center. And this is definitely coming from the heart chakra. Okay, so let's go ahead and read that. Open center. Well, here we go. I open up to receive, and I open up to give. I learn to give and receive in perfect balance. Yeah, don't try to control something. Don't try to overgive to some situation, and don't take from, there's something here working itself out. You just stay, do not exhaust yourself trying to fight or manage or control something that's happening regardless. But it's just, there's just this feeling of being very open right now to where things are going. It's very interesting too. I don't know if you guys are seeing it, but this girl in this card looks a lot like this girl in this card. There is a surrendering. There's an opening up of the chest. There's an opening up of the heart, a surrender almost to what's happening, knowing that you are part of it, but you're not in control of it, and knowing that the thing you may be just closing yourself off to, there's this feeling of closing off to something here, or stopping, not opening yourself up to something here. Could be somebody else's process, could be your own process, but it could be, it's saying open up, connect yourself to whatever this is, but be mindful of the balance you need in the situation, so you don't open yourself up too much, but you don't close yourself off completely to something that's happening here that's trying to create balance in your life. It says, I learn to give and receive in perfect balance. A balance in my heart's region means a strong immune system. It is harmony in my relationships. So with awareness, I oxygenate and nourish my blood, my organs, tissues, and cells. Breathing, walking, taking care of your body, making sure you're pure of mind and pure body, so you can think through this with all of your mental capacity, all of your, function in a clear way right now. Be very clear-minded, see things clearly. It says, acknowledge the smoke and mirrors in your life for what they are. Acknowledge things for what they are. Don't be, but still be kind and open-hearted and compassionate towards what it is, because this is nature. That's what I'm getting. I thank my vital functions. Yeah. I breathe the air element into me. Fresh air. When I hear that, I breathe the fresh air into me. And I think air, it's a very mental element when we're talking about, metaphorically speaking, with cards and fire and water and air and earth. Air is the mental energy. It's air. It's constantly moving. It's constantly, sometimes it's still, sometimes it's blowing, sometimes it's, take in a breath of fresh air, a new way of thinking. There's something here about your mind process here, about the situation. It says, I breathe the air element into me. So I need to think and focus more on me and how I'm using my mind and how I'm opening or closing myself off to kind of what feels very fated or cyclic in nature. We do have to accept it's a radical acceptance that we are a part of a bigger picture, and it's cyclic in nature as we are. And sometimes we don't want that, but that is nature. That is the truth. We can make our little changes, and in the long, big picture, it's going to cause a different effect. It's going to create a different picture. But as of right now, be open to your part in the process and what part you are being and playing in the process. I open up to unconditional love. This includes love from yourself and others, and loving unconditionally towards others that are going through their process also. You could be really dealing with some heavy stuff right now that you feel attached to energetically. Protect your energy, but also don't close it completely off. I feel like you have a big part to play, and you're playing a big part in, you might feel like it's a little picture or a little part, but it's a lot bigger than you know. You just can't see it all right now because it's that sequence of events, the accumulation, the building up of building better relationships with yourself and others, honoring yourself and others. Little by little, it adds up, you guys. And sometimes we just don't see the results and all that, and we don't feel it sometimes even. It's very, very human. It says breathe. I change the vibration of my blood and waters with the help of the air element. I follow my own breath consciously. My body dilates and becomes a lighter vessel. I allow myself to love and be loved. I love that for sure. Okay, so allow love, allow yourself to love the process, the people. Accept and allow that you are a being of love, and you want love, and you want to give love, and that's okay. And there just feels like there's just something here that could be feeling constricting. Take deep breaths. Know that you can feel more constricted by your own mind than it really is. Choose your words carefully, choose your communication right now carefully, and choose what kind of things you're spending your mental energy on right now. I do feel like there's something being created right now that you mentally might be trying to control or distance yourself from, or maybe overly embed yourself in. But it's just there's something happening here. It's really beautiful. I am getting a lot from your guys' reading on that. Like, there's just something happening here that there's a transformation happening. Could be for somebody around you. I am getting that this is a lot of environment stuff, but it also feels like your part in it is already set. Like, it is feeling like you are set in this place for a reason. So I do want to we are going to, let's get one of these. Oh no, this is not the one I was. Sorry guys, I know what I changed around my decks. We gotta get a surrender card, okay? Because I like to see what it is you need to surrender right now. Be flexible, be consistent, be kind. Watch what you're doing with your energy. There is obstacles. It's okay. Surrender to what is. This could not be more right for you guys and your reading. I do want to point out once again, we got the same opening of the chest energy. We got the same surrender energy. There is a surrendering to fate, or to the will, or to life, or to cyclic nature, humanity. Some kind of surrender happening right now for you guys. This is very, very similar energy in 3 different decks. That is the big message coming through for you guys. Surrender to humanity. Humanity's happening. Evolution's happening. Growth is happening. Kindness and compassion for others. Knowing that the shifts and the changes and the seasons, they're there. And we're along for the ride. Be careful of quarreling with people, fighting over stuff that does not, I don't want to say does not matter. But if something is the way it is, don't fight it. Don't try to control it. You can will your will for yourself, your way for yourself. But we can't do that for everybody. So I do feel like there's something here, it's just exhausting to try to fight something or control something that you have no control over. You just have to it could even be love, you guys. It could be anything. You could be like, like you need to surrender to like being loved, or a relationship, or this could be any kind of, but it's just, don't fight with yourself about it or others about it. Something's happening here that is out of your control, and it is fated. It is part of the cycle, but your changes will make a difference for you, and how exhausted you are or how not exhausted you are through this process, whatever this is, the Geminis I am talking to right now are going through. So you guys, I thank you for coming and watching your reading. And as always, I appreciate you guys. I hope that helps somebody. And it's a very interesting reading. Just surrender. It's just, there's something here happening. You need to be very mindful about where your interfering with stuff you have no control over, or trying to control something that, or, you know, it's just, there's something happening here that's a bigger picture. And you're just seeing the little bump right now in the road, or the little bump, and there's something bigger happening for humanity in general. But we see it in our little lives, or our day-to-day. But on a bigger note, that's happening for a lot of people, not just me, not just you. It's happening for everybody in there. And just acknowledging that helps a lot. Acknowledging that, paying attention to that, and staying on, keeping our standing on our truth, standing on the ground we stand on, and what we've learned in our wisdom, and creating the vision we want to create. And it's not really, on a bigger note, it's not a selfish individual vision. It's a whole vision of how we want people to treat people, or how we want people to understand us. Well, we have to understand them as well. So there's a bigger vision under every little day-to-day vision that's very collective. So this is very collective energy we're dealing with right now. So, but it says flow with what is instead of fighting it. That's this. I just feel like she's just letting the will take her, and it might feel up and down, but she's not wasting as much energy on something she can't change. When you can't change a situation, compassionately accepting it is exactly as it is will bring you peace. And that is the truth. Thank you, Spirit. That is a beautiful card to end your guys' message, and I love it. So you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you later.